Greetings, traveler. It is a pleasure to see you. Yes, there is a little break in the storm, but more snow is coming. Please, don't stand out here in the weather. You are more than welcome to enter my humble abode and share the fire with me.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Well, traveler, the old Irish fella has survived another brutal 4-day week in his dirty, nasty, and dangerous industrial environment. It's a job like any other. You know, you have to take advantage of situations as they come to you. I'm very fortunate in that I have enough skill and experience to be able to survive no matter what they throw at me. They've thrown me more than one off-speed breaking ball, and I've managed to come back, and they've gotten a strike or two on me, but no strikeouts for the old fella. So, traveler, I have to admit that I'm in the mood for a bit of philosophizing tonight. I'm currently preparing to make more instructional videos. But I've been listening repeatedly to my Check the Roadmap video I did a while back, and it's made me stop and think about things. When you have taken that first red pill, it's a shock to the system. But as you continue a steady diet of them, you do become a brother of the red pill awakening. Now, I know, and Mr. Elite did an excellent video where he called out someone for using language incorrectly. Now, I'll admit, some of the words I use and the definitions that I've ascribed to them personally may not match someone else's. But, you know, I understand myself. But I am trying, when I share with you brothers, to be as exact and precise as possible, so you understand where I'm coming from. I mean, after all, If you don't understand me, how can I impart any knowledge to you? How can you gain wisdom if you're not sure what I'm talking about? So, I am going to make an effort to more clearly define what I'm talking about, because well, it's like a famous man said back in the day: when one teaches, two learn. I am continuing to subject myself to psychological nudity and hardcore analysis, not as a form of torture, but to continually check myself, to make sure I'm giving you the best possible content. Now, if you are a brother, you've come to the realization of this meme already. It's another one from Wake Up World, and it says, "There would be no game of chess if the pawns refused to play." That's right. We have given the pimp hand to that shit, kicked it to the curb, and we're stepping the fuck off. Now, I do not want to shame anyone who's not on the same path I am, because being a monk is an extreme reaction. I've heard some people, I believe it was Hammerhand, saying that, being a monk was one of the... Was it Hammerhand? He may have echoed the sentiment, but someone said being a monk is one of the higher expressions of being MGTOW. And although some people will try to shame us for turning away and making such a radical departure from the matriarchy, we know that we have a higher value than what the matriarchy assigns to us. After all, if you go to the store and you buy something that's in a disposable package, you already know it's not going to be used again. You drink that bottle of water or that soda, and that the empty vessel has no value. It's just thrown away. But we know, brothers, we have more value than being a disposable utility. That's why we're walking away. And we know a wise man will continue to walk away, because there's nothing left for us in the old culture. Man, I'm gonna have to print this meme out. It's gonna use a lot of color, but that's okay. It'll be worth it. Because here's my man. He's standing on his own little symbol of power. There's a larger one that looks made of energy that's projected on the floor beneath him. And the rest of him is just channeling energy from the infinite and radiating it outward. And, it's within you to be able to do this. To build that new man, Homo rationalis, tempered by enlightened self-interest. That is what I feel some of us are doing. Now, I make no great claims to be an expert, but I do have a passing familiarity with altered states of being, precognition, and astral projection. So I know that achieving or we could say a transhumanist breakthrough is possible. I mean, certainly not to the great degree that some of the theoreticians talk about. You know, they speak of the transhuman phenomenon as being as monumental as the artificial intelligence singularity. If I remember correctly, the singularity will be the point where the machine intelligence will be as smart or perhaps smarter than a human. So, traveler, I know that since you took the trouble to come all this way to see me, that there is interest, and I hope there is trust, because we're going to go on a little journey. Now, take a moment. Center yourself. Achieve your balance. And focus on your third eye. Yes. Now, don't worry. There is no danger here. I promise to use all my skill and power as a guide to take you on this journey and bring you back home. Now, this may be a little tough to take, but I'll describe to you what is happening. We are about to enter a black hole. Yes, you can see the event horizon as we approach. Do not worry. There is no need for fear. Okay, center yourself. We're passing the event horizon, and we're about to go elsewhere. Are you all right, traveler? Okay. Now you're probably wondering where we are. Well, let's just say we're elsewhere when. It just so happens that back on Earth, the Hubble Space Telescope was pointed at an area of space that they said was empty. But they let it hang out and look at this area for a while, and when the data came in, this is what they saw. One might think this is almost overwhelming, but there's no need for awe or anxiety. Because remember, there is a little piece of this inside you. That's what resonates within you. And that's what lets you know the truth. So, traveler, I was thinking really hard, exactly what is the measure of a man? Besides testosterone, of course. I think, you can see a pretty good description of this from Shakespeare. I offered this quote from Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2. What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action how like an angel, in apprehension how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Now I read a little bit of a analysis of that passage, and it was quite illuminating, but my new printer doesn't like me. I couldn't print out the analysis to share with you. I believe when Shakespeare used the term apprehension, he meant appearance. And as scripture says, man is made in God's image. I remember I was in a chat once, and someone asked me, what does God look like? I told him, look in the mirror. And quintessence is like the fifth refinement of ore. Imagine you had a machine that, you shovel the ore in one end and it automatically separates out the stuff you want. Now, it can't do it all at once, but let's just say you put in 10,000 pounds of ore. Well, it goes through the cycle. You've still got the same amount of substance you're seeking, but now there's only 1,000 pounds of ore. The rest of it is just dead rock that you can throw away and know you're not losing anything valuable. Do it again. Now, it's only 100 pounds of ore. Then 10 pounds. Then 1 pound. In fact, you could almost say you got the pure product you were looking for. From 10,000 pounds of ore to 1 pound, you may have a solid brick of whatever substance you were looking for in your hands. And that's what you are, brothers. Whether you believe in blind evolution or intelligent design or direct, I can't remember the Latin phrase, but as the Catholic said, out of nothing, something. No matter what, you are the end product of a process. You are an apex predator. And as I've said before, you do have an advantage over the beasts of the field. You have the power to reason and overcome your emotions. And we know that if you didn't have that ability, you wouldn't be here where you are now. So, I looked up some quotes, and I didn't quite have the energy to write down the long ones, but I have a few short ones to share with you. This one I thought was pretty good, and it has application in my life. The true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do him absolutely no good. That is from Samuel Johnson. And you think about it, now, I have to admit, I don't do it every time, but I've had the infinite whisper in my ear and say, it's time to pay it forward a little bit. I did once. I went into the store and I bought some drinks and snacks for some homeless people. And it wasn't to curry favor with them. It's like, I had a place to stay. They were completely homeless. I mean, they're pushing the classic shopping cart. So I wasn't expecting any sort of return on my investment. But karma compelled me to do it. And I did it even though I wasn't sure I had enough money for gas to get to work. But it turned out I did. And it was the right thing to do. Because they were very appreciative and thanked me. And it wasn't to try to impress them. It was because it's what you should do as a human being. Now, there are struggles that every man goes through. We can see our blue-pilled brothers struggling, trying to believe in a script that's no longer valid. But here we are. We've managed to break out of that cocoon. And now we're free. But that doesn't mean the struggle is over. No. So, let's see. The measure of a man's character is not determined by how he handles his wins, but how he handles his failures. That is from Bill Courtney, whoever he is. That's true. More than once, I mentally savaged myself unmercifully for failures. And yeah, I mentioned this way back in Alone in the Wilderness. And that, I didn't know better back then, but of course, now I know that attitude is defeatist and self-destructive, so I don't go there. A wise man learns from his mistakes. And it's like the man said, I never lose. Either I win or I learn. I found another quote that it is absolutely true, and it's even made more relevant when I saw who said it. The true measure of a man is the degree to which he has managed to subjugate his ego. And that was by Albert Einstein, which was a surprise. And it's absolutely true. You know, for those of you who may not have watched it yet, I think I mentioned in Reflections that a literal dream come true came when I managed to suppress my own ego and let the infinite operate through me. And I was literally radiating positive energy, and I was completely unaware of it. And it was because I made a conscious effort to not have a personal reaction to the situation I was in, but just sort of, stayed, man. Yes, it's hard to believe, but words are actually failing me. It does happen every once in a while. To actually sort of disengage my ego and let my reactions come from the infinite. It was one of the things that helped me to eventually achieve a few minutes of precious serenity. It was such a profound and enlightening experience. And as I've said before, having achieved that once, I know I can do it again. So any minor difficulties that I encounter are just that. They're minor and they're temporary. And it was, well, it shouldn't be surprising, but I was impressed to find out that people have been thinking about this subject for a while. The measure of a man is what he does with power. That was said by Plato. I was like, really? Wow, that's very impressive. I remember reading Farnham's Freehold. Now, Robert Heinlein, he's a great author, especially in his work in the 50s and 60s. Farnham's Freehold is a story about a average guy, he's in a pretty much loveless marriage, but he's working hard. trying to, keep things together because, you know, he tried hard even though he was in that blue-pilled existence to do what he could. And there are a lot of adventures, but he's talking to his lady friend, and he talks about, being trusted with power. He said as hard as he tried, this character said it was a failure when he tried it because he didn't quite handle it correctly. As the phrase goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I believe that was said by Lord Acton, whoever he is. There's another guy, he's a talk show host, and he's British, and I can't remember his name. And he sort of modified it a little bit, and it made sense. And he says it isn't the power that corrupts, it's fear. The fear of losing power. I mean, you look at things the way things went in Russia. Now, we know the czars were sort of cruel and heartless, and they didn't really give a fuck about the peasants. But it was sort of in the Russian character, because, well, sure, everyone would agree that you were the boss, but the moment you left town, things could go to shit. So it was like, yeah, you're the man as long as you're here to apply the pimp hand. You leave, things could go to shit while you're gone, and it's your ass. It turned out to be part of the Russian character. Now, when the Bolshevik Revolution happened, of course, just like the French Revolution, you gotta purge society of those evil royals because they're messing up everything. But then, as things commenced, and it's a pattern we've seen all too often throughout history. The very people who think they're going to be, on the upper tiers in the new society are usually the first ones to get purged. Because now you're no longer useful. It's something that these deluded leftists don't seem to realize. That the people actually using them as cannon fodder don't care about them. They're just now that the term useful idiot showed up. It was attributed to Lenin, but that was never proven. But it's people that are, they may be sincere, they may have good intentions, but their efforts are co-opted by people with a slightly different agenda. And most people don't realize it. I mean, you think about Antifa. These are a bunch of kids who are, they think that they're a Billy Badass because they slipped out of mama's basement. They actually powered down the computer and stopped looking at the porn. They didn't open that second bag of Cheetos. And they're out there showing their ass. But Notice, the only place where they are a factor is in places where the leftists are in control of the political apparatus. They function as an unofficial arm of the political apparatus. I mean, after all, the Proud Boys, they're to the right of us. Now, I know a little bit about them, but people might get a little upset if the SWAT team suddenly showed up and started capping people in their houses, but we'll let Antifa give them the pimp hand out in public, and the police and the mayor just happen to be looking the other way when this happens. So they fulfill their function as the militant arm of the Democratic Party. And there's plausible deniability. That's like, well, gee, we don't know what's going on with them, Well, we know you some lying motherfuckers, but that's another story. It's something that makes you almost stop in your tracks sometimes. You wonder, why are people so easily duped by a smooth line and a little cash? If you're a man going your own way, you already know, that money it's important, but not in itself. It's a means to an end. So it's a little more difficult to influence someone that's awake. We know if you're, quote, woke, unquote, you've already been brainwashed and imprinted. It's going to be tough to bring you back. It is possible, but you're a leftist Stepford clone? I don't know, man. Consuming a diet of red pills and going through that red pill rage and then coming out the other side of the valley of despair, you realize you've changed. You're no longer lost, confused, and more importantly, you're no longer alone. Now, we don't know exactly how many red pill brothers are out there, but we know our influence is growing. And the matriarchy is starting to get scared. That's why we're seeing so many jacked up acts going on. They're all hiding in the back rooms and in the corridors where the press can't see them, colluding together. Deliberately setting up things so they'll show up on the news and everyone will freak out and say, oh, we need Big Daddy government to come save us from these evil people. And you know what? The only thing I need saving from is big government. No, I approach the future and I have, heck, I don't even know what the percentages are, but there is a little apprehension that, because the future is always uncertain. There is just a touch of dread because hockey mask time is coming, and if it's reached that point, there is gonna be chaos. But there's also optimism. I still wake up every day excited because God gave me another day. I literally don't know how many I have left, but I'm gonna enjoy every one. And I don't know what the future's gonna bring, but, physically, I'm not that prepared, but I am mentally and spiritually. And it's what makes this quote resonate within me. The supreme measure of a man is what he would risk his life for. And that is from a red pill bona fide badass motherfucker, George S. Patton. Yeah, buddy. It makes you wonder, now, let's see, what was that movie? Krull. Now, Krull was quite interesting. It was sort of a blending of with medieval and science fiction. Without getting into too much details, they had a race of Cyclops. And in the movie, they said that this race, they made basically a deal with the devil. They gave away one of their eyes so they could see into the future. But whoever the being was they made the deal with, just like a genie on crack or the devil, he tricked them. The only future any of this race were allowed to see was the manner of their death. Ew! Now, I have a touch of precognition. It's a skill that operates erratically, and sometimes it takes me a while to figure out the information I received, and other times the knowledge has taken over. I mean, I've literally avoided traffic accidents because I'm not even trying. Suddenly I'm swerving out of the way, and where I was, another car swerved because some car came out of nowhere and almost hit him. And when I started turning the wheel, there was nothing going on. So it's like, how can you explain that? That you can't. You just got to go with it. Every once in a while I wonder if I really want to see the future, because I think way back when I was a kid, I actually said, this is the year that I'm gonna die. And I don't know if that was precognition. I had not even developed that skill at the time. But I decided much later on, and especially now that I am awake, unafraid, and unbreakable, it doesn't matter when this physical body dies, because I know the essence that is me is going to survive beyond physical death. So who cares what the date is? I mean, there's stuff I'd like to do, but if I didn't wake up in the morning, that don't matter. So, traveler, I'm very glad you decided to accompany me on this journey. And now you might be saying to yourself, well, we're out here in the middle of who the hell knows where. How are we gonna get back home? Well, my friend, as the man said, just because you don't see a way doesn't mean God doesn't have a way. However you want to interpret God, that's up to you. But believe me, there is something out there that is greater than you. And if you tap into it, you can come closer to achieving your maximum potential as a bona fide badass motherfucker. That's right. Do not doubt that you can do anything. Now, I'm old, weak, slow, and tired. I'm not gonna be, deadlifting any differentials in the near future. I've got a little enlightened self-interest keeping me from doing really stupid stuff. But nothing is gonna stop me from achieving my manifest destiny, and nothing should stop you either. So, traveler, if you would be so kind as to focus through your third eye, I will bring us back home. Well, traveler, Yes, it is nice to be back in familiar surroundings, isn't it? I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come by and visit with me. And I hope the ramblings of a crazy old man have given you some knowledge and perhaps a bit of wisdom after you've taken time for a little study and reflection. So, just a little note. This span of time off, the old Irish fella is actually gonna step out of his comfort zone again. He's going to experiment with video editing software and come up with standard openings for his videos. Never done it before, but I'm not gonna let a lack of experience stop me. Why? You know, you have to push yourself every day and always think of something new. And, why shouldn't I learn something new? I'm not dead yet. In fact, I know I'm gonna keep learning and growing until the day I die, and I will keep learning and growing after I die, because I know there's more to life than what I see. So, traveler, remember, do not believe what anyone else tells you. Remember that your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. And as you continue your journey, I still say some of the best days of your life haven't happened yet.